welcome into this episode of Phriendly, this podcast with 5 friends from Philadelphia. And we're going to talk about some music, talk about some current events, and then we're going to play a game. This week, I'm going to be your host. My name is Zack.
Woo!
Yay, Zack. I'm Josh.
Yeah!
I'm Steve.
I'm Ben.
And
that's Mike.
And that's Mike down there.
I'm Mike.
That one's Mike. And John.
Oh my gosh.
All right, how are you guys doing today?
I'm good.
Yeah, Dave was all right. Dave was all right. Was watching the hearing on the Capitol riots, and then it immediately transferred over to Tiger Woods being half dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did just see. I just got that sent to me.
Yep.
Yeah, he got torn out of the car with the jaws of life.
Sounds like his leg's pretty messed up, but he's okay.
Hopefully his spine's okay.
Fused
right?
together.
I mean, his spine was not okay going into that.
What's his auto sponsorship? What did he crash in?
A Buick.
A Buick.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
His spine might not be okay.
Oh. This podcast is not brought to you by Buick.
Tiger Woods.
I guess first things up, let's dive into our playlist ads this week. Who wants to go first?
Phriendly Phinds, baby.
Phriendly Phinds on Spotify. Come join us.
Come join us.
Not spelled like you think.
I'm gonna elect Mike to go first. What did you add this week?
Yeah, Mike.
So I went back and looked at, because I remember this guy being on like X Factor or one of those shows years ago. So Willie Jones is just like a different dude. He went and performed. They had they didn't know what genre he was going to sing, and he all of a sudden starts singing this deep country song, and they're totally blown away. So Willie Jones, the first song I added is called "Drank Too Much." Cool, fun song about him getting drunk and going after a girl that he thought was totally out of his league, but because he was drunk, he didn't think about getting turned down. So I mean, I think we can all kind of we've had those experiences, but one of the things I thought about in that song was like the dating world and how pre-COVID people probably were out getting drinks, you're kind of tipsy, getting to know somebody, and it's one way to date. But my current life where I'm at today is I actually had a date without drinking, which has led to something really good. So this anyway, it's a fun song.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hate to even think this, but to think that there's like just a killer black country artist right now, and there are a bunch, but like we need more representation. Like country needs more representation, it needs to be more diverse. Like and Willie Jones is a great example, right? Like Kane Brown, Willie Jones. There's a couple of artists that are really
Jimmy Allen. I mean Darius Rucker. I think a Hootie, but there's a whole number.
Absolutely.
I mean, this guy's younger.
Yeah,
he's closer to our age, and his song's kind of dancey. But Ben, you brought this up in this week, and I'm sorry to take so much time on one song, but I think it's important. He has a really good song called "American Dream" that I didn't put in this playlist because it wasn't what I was feeling at the time. But that song is just incredible, and the fact that it's in a country genre is awesome. So,
truly.
Yeah. So I've been on this like pop rock vibe lately. And I love me some like R&B leaning stuff, chill pop. So the first one is from a band called, this is kind of what made me even click on it. They're called I Don't Know How, But They Found Me.
Love that song.
Yep.
And what's really cool about this song is I'm a big Bowie fan, and when the opening starts, I heard Fame like almost immediately.
I get you.
It's got this horn thing that occurs in the beginning. It might even be synth. I'm not even sure, but it definitely has a like that Fame thing going on. The second
I
one,
was playing a video game afterwards.
Yeah. And I've been really into finding like songs kind of like in a certain like mid tempo, like 125 to 145 to run to.
Steven?
So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of I put one on early and then forgot that I needed to add a few more, but my first one was "Stay Next to Me" by Quinn 92. I just really like this song. I actually heard this song originally. Ben showed it to me, but the acoustic version, and then the regular version popped up. because he just released a single with this on it. And
Well, Ben likes that Chelsea
really,
Cutler.
Well,
Right.
Chelsea
Yeah,
Cutler's a
dude.
badass. A badass.
Chelsea
I
Cutler.
know he's obsessed, so I was like, well, I'll just add this one because I'm vibing to it, and I know Ben will like it at least, so that's good.
If I'm being
and
like
then
really
I put another song
embarrassingly
called
honest, I
what?
went to a Chelsea Cutler concert right before the pandemic started. That was the last, thing I did before the pandemic started. I went and saw Chelsea Cutler live at what used to be called the Electric Factory. It's what Franklin Music Hall now.
Franklin Music Hall, yeah.
Me and just every teenager in Philadelphia absolutely jamming Chelsea Cutler, dude.
That's awesome.
It was killer.
Can I admit something embarrassing on the podcast is that I have been calling him Quinn XC2 since I even saw his name for the first time.
I don't even say his name.
Yeah, that song is a jam.
It's a good
Really
one.
talented.
Benjamin?
Reincarnation.
All right,
exists.
so I get to pick up the ball from there. So looking at the songs I added, I went with an artist that I've been like, I get into these kind of obsessive moods with music where I will do like deep dives into particular artists and just like listen to them nonstop for a month, and then I'll pretty much forget about them. And for the last month or so, that person has been Mod's son, who does exactly what Zack hates and has all those caps. Mod's son's really interesting though, and I don't know if you guys know like his background, but he started in a band called 4 Letter Lie as a drummer. Now 4 Letter Lie is like a post-hardcore band.
Yep, I remember them.
Yeah, from our younger years. They had one big song really that I can remember, but screaming, singing, kind of a harder edge. He's all tatted up and stuff, but
he's a pretty looking guy. I'm not gonna lie.
He's a very interesting looking man.
Yeah.
And after he left that band, he decided he wanted to go kind of hip hop. So for the last 10 years or so, he's been putting out basically like hip hop ish tracks, almost like stoner hip hop kind of vibe. Obviously, he has some kind of rhythm skills because he's been a drummer for so long. But he has kind of hitched his cart to this new wave of hip hop artists that are coming back into pop punk and alternative music. So I had heard about him being associated with Machine Gun Kelly, who obviously is kind of spearheading that movement of hip hop into pop punk. Mm-hmm. And he's got a kind of similar-ish sound. He's probably more talented band-wise.
I think. Never mind.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
I did do, when I saw you put that on, I did a little bit of digging because I was. It's one of those things that you hear, and I was like, why do I like this? Like immediately. And if you dig it, it's like he still does, like Schoolboy Q, G-Eazy, Black Bear, who I think Black Bear gets like kind of pushed aside as being like the pop douchebag. Like everything sounds the same, but the guy has such a skill set in just nailing what he does.
Yep.
And no, Mod, like when you put that on, I was like, whew, like it's got good guitar riffs, it's got crazy like lyrics, and I'm just like, this is kind of awesome. So
yeah, so the lyrical content to get it, it's called Annoying, which I already was kind of intrigued by that song name, and then I listened to it, and it's actually a love song. But it's a love song about how annoyed he is about how in love he is, which is kind of hilarious and pretty on the nose for, I think a lot of us have felt that, like the feeling of it's annoying how much I care about someone, how much I love someone, like in a great way, but also in a very annoying and frustrating way.
Yeah. I do the dishes every day and empty the dishwasher because I love this person so much.
Exactly, that's annoying.
It's annoying.
It's also one of those songs like right from the jump. Mm-hmm. Like nowadays I feel like as somebody that like produces music for a living, like there's something about the way that song opens. Like it's not waiting to get into anything. It just this is what it is. It's right there. I like it. But I mean there's nothing really, but as for the lyrical content, I mean what emo song, pop punk song wasn't about being in love and being like pissed off about it or
exactly
upset. So It's perfect. Perfect for us.
His first couple of singles that came out off that album finally dropped last week, or 2 weeks ago, and that's why I put it on there. But the first couple singles that came off it, particularly the song "Karma," I've been just bumping forever, and it's just a funny song about how he hopes his ex basically has a sucky life because karma's a B word. That's literally the chorus, So he has kind of a great skill in terms of putting together a pop punk song or whatever. And he had Travis Barker help him out on the album, which shows because Travis Barker is just crushing like production work right now and putting together albums for these artists. Like
he's a huge advocate for the next wave. He's like the Danny DeVito of pop punk.
Yeah. I dig it.
Interesting.
So that's.
I mean, Danny DeVito is the whole reason why we have shows like Little Dicky's show, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like Always Sunny would not have had a first season without him. He financed it.
Yep.
So
it's true.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
I'll quickly go through my 3 editions. I tried to, for the first 2, find bands that no one has ever heard of. My second track, which honestly, not my favorite song, but it had like a little story behind it, and I really liked the feature. So it's called Better the Devil You Know. It's by a band called Galleons, and the feature is this guy named Phil Bayer. And Phil was previously in the worst named band of all time. They were called Time the Valuator. Like Time, comma, the Valuator.
Sick.
All lowercase.
I've never heard of these guys, but like they're in a genre that I listen to quite frequently, and they had like millions of plays on Spotify, so I'm kind of surprised I've never heard of them. But this Phil Bayer guy kind of sounds like Johnny Craig. He's got this like outrageous reach. Ooh, sorry. And his high notes are just like phenomenal. And Galleons themselves have only put out 2 albums so far, but they sound a little bit like Dance Gavin Dancy. And I like that vibe. I shared this with Ben, but it's not on the playlist. You guys should look for Earthquake. Galleons covered that song by Tyler, the Creator. And
really?
Awesome.
Earthquake?
Yeah.
Earthquake with an F instead of a TH.
Earthquake. All right.
Yeah. That was a big part of the Creator track a little while ago.
It was huge, and I hadn't even heard it.
Yep.
You haven't gotten to your third song yet, but I just want to comment from earlier. I joked about your songs being bad. I like the change, and not country's a change of pace, yes, but I go from a country song to one of your songs, and I'm like, this is awesome.
It's kind of funny you said that Better the Devil You Know is not one that wasn't your favorite out of the 3.
I like it.
But I think that was my favorite out of the 3.
I mean, that's fair. It's not a bad song. I put it on there because I like it. But
I like
your
that
last
it
one.
opens completely different than the rest of the song. Like you have to get 30 seconds in. I like that.
With that beautiful segue, I think the title of the episode should be "The Phriends Solve the Student Loan Crisis."
Yes.
There we go.
Do it.
So this has been all over the news for the last 2 weeks, even going back further to like the campaign trail for Mr. Biden, Mr. President Joseph R. Biden.
Robinette.
Joe.
Weird middle name.
And I think our other bit on student loans might end up on the cutting room floor, so I thought we should address it more fully. So there's 2 major plans out there that people are bickering about, either relieving $10,000 in student loans or $50,000 in student loans, or I guess 0 in student loans if you want to have a third option. 10,000 is Joe Biden's number from when he was campaigning, and they're trying to tag that onto pandemic relief and actually push that through Senate and Congress. And when asked about it, Biden says he wants to make like going to school cheaper, but doesn't really have a plan for that and wants to just kind of kick it further down the road.
Yeah, that's what that is. That's a Band-Aid on a huge gaping wound.
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll be dead when it's figured out.
And just for like a visualization, about a third of all student loan borrowers currently owe less than $10,000. So that would put a third of student loan borrowers out of debt completely. The 50,000 plan is by like the Democrat leadership in Senate. Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren were probably screaming the loudest about this. And this wouldn't have a snowball's chance in hell getting through Congress. So this would have to be done through executive order, which opens up a whole different can of worms.
For sure.
But the argument for 50,000 is that you would be boosting the economy by getting all these younger people out of debt, able to buy houses, start businesses, start families, and to kind of visualize that 80% of people owe less than 50,000.
Yes.
So that would from 33% out of debt to 80%. And there's a couple other arguments there, but do you guys have any feelings? Ben's
a lot.
not in his head, so
I got a lot of feelings.
Scream it out, Ben.
Well, so I was looking at your you sent us some ideas for what we were going to do this episode, and first of all, the title of the Gang Solves. I'm currently binging through Always Sunny, so I was like, this is perfect. I had a couple of thoughts on why these fixes are great, but also why these fixes don't really address the problem at all. The fact that we're addressing it on it's reactionary instead of trying to be proactive. The proactive solution is getting college pricing under control, man, because the college numbers have been going up astronomically for years and years and years with no checks. And some colleges are charging numbers that are absurd. And it brings in a whole bunch of other issues. College is a privilege. It's something that we don't all get to do. It's something that people of lower income and lower. There's so many different reasons why you can't go to college, but one of them shouldn't really be money. And right now, that's the biggest reason, particularly why you can't go to some colleges and others. And again, it's stigmatized. So, you went to community college versus, you went to that big state school, or, you went to that prestigious private university, right?
Yeah.
We talk about not wanting privilege and things like that in these kind of things, but it's built into the foundation of our education system through this college system that we've created. So for me, the first thing that's super frustrating is, okay, great, you're solving the debt crisis for all of us that are in debt, right? And that helps a lot. It does. Me not having to make that payment, you not having to make that payment is going to be really helpful, or making a smaller payment. But I want to help the kids that are 5 right now. I want to help my son. I don't want to just help me, right? And I think that's the kind of the hole we're getting pushed into is like, no, help yourself. But when my kid goes to college in 18 years, if they want to,
it's going to be 3 times more expensive.
It's going to be absurd. So and that's ridiculous. So, I think in a perfect world, instead of giving it a blanket number like we always do with the government's like, you guys need money? Here's $2,000. Okay, well, $2,000 for one person is huge. $2,000 for another person is a drop in the, a puddle. It's nothing. Why are we doing it by that and not like something that's just like taxation, where you're talking about, okay, how much do you have? We're going to give you that percentage off, right? Or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think that makes more sense than giving a blanket number where you solve the problem completely for some, and for others, like if Zach, if we gave you $10,000, well, I mean, nobody's going to scoff at $10,000. It's still right in the bucket.
Yeah.
That doesn't solve your debt problem.
Yeah, but I also am attacking this from like, I don't need the help. I'm fortunate enough to be able to pay mine down in a reasonable time frame, and I've had a job through the pandemic, so financially I haven't really been impacted. Mm-hmm. So for me, I don't personally care what happens to my loan balance. I mean, any help will be great, obviously, but I feel like it kind of disproportionately benefits me.
Yeah.
More so, like
Well,
the people between 10,000 and 200,000, it's not going to help them as much as it helps like the higher income people that have a shitload of debt.
yep.
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be helping everyone we can.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. I just think it's a blanket solution to something that needs maybe less of a uniform solution and more of a solution that fits each person in a better way, you know? And I think it's the same thing I feel about the stimulus, honestly. Again, the idea that you can just give everyone money and that's like going to solve a problem. If I'm, being completely honest, again, my wife and I received stimulus money. We didn't need it. We had jobs. We were fully employed. We were both doing fine. Now we were able to do some things again to pay down debt, to do good things for sure. But could that money have gone to someone who literally is out of the job or destitute because of the pandemic and not us? And would we have survived without it? Absolutely. So again,
I got a lot of thoughts. I'm trying to not overlap people here. Because if you know me, I'm like super politically charged and I watch a lot of this stuff. So first and foremost, I want to attack a point Ben mentioned. It shouldn't be this way, but it has been. College is a privilege. It shouldn't be. Kind of like healthcare. I'm not going to start that process. We should all have some level of access to it. Yeah, okay. Colleges are different levels of prices. So I'm not saying that every single person should get sent to that college, but it shouldn't be a privilege, but it is. Saying that, well, first of all, a third of people have $10,000 or less in student loan debt. I mean, given what job you can get, $10,000 in student loan debt, it sucks, but it's not. In many cases, it's not life crippling. You get a car loan for $10,000, $12,000. Somebody's $50,000 student loan. I graduated with $65,000. Somebody's $50,000 student loan. That's significant debt to manage. However, the thought that let's give you 50 grand, let's give you 10 grand, you're gonna get a better job and go spend that money in the economy. I mean, at what cost does that come? I don't know. It's taxes we paid for before, it's taxes we're gonna pay for in the future. At the end of the day, the solution somehow is a systemic establishment issue where we have to fix the problem at its root, which Ben mentioned and hit right on the head, is the cost of college. I don't know how you fix that. I like that they're trying to throw this all in now because when you have monstrous legislation like this, you're more likely to get it passed with a big package like this. Like you're a Democratic president with Democratic majority in the House and Senate. You have about 2 years of that. You kind of want to throw in your minimum wage and your college relief all in the same package because you're the best chance at getting it passed. Mm-hmm. So I think it's smart to do it all now, and I think they should go as high as they should, but that does not fix the problem. It's a massive Band-Aid.
Yeah, and I also think that there's, to the point of college is too expensive, right? I mean, the trend of people going to college, one, is going down because it's becoming prohibitively expensive. But also the number of jobs that people are getting and the quality of jobs that people are getting out of college has gone down significantly at the same rate. So basically what's happening is there's this bubble that's creating, right? Where the perceived value of a college education is going down and the price of it is going up, right? So instead of it becoming, hey, we're becoming an education institute, it's more of an experience factory than it is an educational one that's beneficial, right? So at some point, obviously, to Ben's point, right, there should be some checks to keep it lower and more tied to the external value when you exit college, which it's like taking it off the gold standard, right? It's inflated without check. Yeah. So there needs to be some way of saying like, hey, and I'm not going to solve it here, right? But maybe there's some way to even tie it to, based on your first salary out of college, that's going to determine your interest rate, right? Or like as your salary goes up, your interest rate goes up because you should have a higher ability to pay that loan back at a better rate or something like that, right? Rather than
which is exactly the inverse of how they would give you a credit card. So it would make sense for them to do it that way.
Right.
Wait, they charge you more because you can pay it back?
It's less risk for them to I mean, if they're minimizing risk, what Steve's saying would make sense, but they would never go for that because it's
no,
it's the opposite of the rule.
If that is the check that you make, right? Like by government mandate, you have to adjust the student loan interest rate or the amount that they have to pay back in a year in general based on their yearly salary, which then you can get from their tax records, right? So that you're only ever paying or need to pay X percent, right? That way there's an incentive for colleges to place people in good jobs, right? Higher paying jobs. There's an incentive for everyone around the university, right? To lower the cost so that they can make sure that they can get people in and pay back the amount of money that they need. I mean, I'm sure there's consequences that I'm not thinking about, but like when we were talking about it and I was doing some research and whatnot, I was just like, well, why wouldn't it would just make more sense, right? Because again, to your point, like Zach, you have a very good paying job. The amount of debt you have is substantial. However, you're not drowning, right?
Correct.
And like, however, like if Ben happened to go to a private school instead of a state school that was even more expensive, and you come out a teacher and you're making a teacher salary that's not at a private school, but it's at a regular public school, and it's peanuts, you still have this giant load of debt. Mm-hmm. And they educated you well, but the best job that you could get, right, just so happened to be like a $45,000 a year job. I'm just pulling a number out of my butt. But like,
yeah,
shouldn't they correlate?
Yeah. You kind of touched on my shower thought solution to this whole thing, and I want to get to Josh, but just to double on what Steve just said, my plan is that the universities don't charge you anything up front, but you have to commit some percentage of your earnings for 5 to 10 years once you graduate.
Yeah.
And it would be
that's
a reasonable.
That's very cool.
Because you think like, oh, you're buying a house, you want your mortgage to be like 20% of your monthly income. Mm-hmm. If your student loans were, for everyone, were 15% of your income and that number could obviously like fluctuate from year to year.
And you could probably pay it down
years at that point, right?
They're going to need to hire a whole department for the schools to figure that out, but that's a smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think you could come in and say, hey, listen, I can give you this much up front. Can I get a lower rate, just like buying a house, right?
Yeah.
Just getting that number down.
So the institution of the university becomes the creditor?
Yeah. And I think there's actually a couple of schools that are offering something similar to that.
You can back that by the government too, and
in lieu of applying for financial aid, you can like sign a contract with the university to do that. And I guess the counter argument is you can purposely work shittier jobs, but that's pretty bad motivation.
Counterintuitive to yourself.
I want to buy good beer. I don't want to buy shitty beer.
I mean, and to give you kind of the other piece of that counter argument, part of what, as a teacher, I know, again, my salary is capped kind of. There's no 300K teacher job, right? The job is what it is. It makes a certain amount of money and it kind of caps out. But the government does offer some relief in terms of if you work in basically a school district that is underserved or has people that are struggling, you can get loan relief for working in that district because it's, I guess, assumed that it's hard to get teachers to work in those districts.
Yeah, public service, extra public service.
Correct. So, again, putting that carrot at the end of the stick, obviously
they're struggling industries, right?
They're willing to offer.
Want to major in struggling industries within the U.S. offer like, hey, you'll only pay 9% instead of 15%.
Yep.
Or whatever. We'll cover the rest.
The entire premise that it scales, I think, is just the beauty of it. I only make $40K a year. It doesn't matter because I'm paying a percentage, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, I make $300K a year starting out somehow. It's amazing. Still paying a percentage.
I know we're interrupting. Josh hasn't spoken yet, but there's something. It's a long way off, but something it's probably more socialistic. So people watching this are like, "Oh, socialism." Like in Germany and other countries, I think I'm quoting this right. There's a certain qualification. So you can go to school, but when you graduate, you have to spend 18 months in the military. Now, you don't necessarily have to serve as a combat infantry person, but you can serve in any capacity in the military. And you do that, your college is free. I mean, a lot of people here kick and scream and complain that they have, bone spurs like Orange, President 45, Orange Man. But that's a way,
right? I mean, Mike, your brother-in-law used that kind of program, right? Didn't he? Did he get some of his college paid for by the U.S. government?
My sister's husband.
Right.
Yeah. So he's earning credits as he's. I mean, he's almost he'll be retired or put his 20 years in the military when he's 38, but he will come out of there with enough credits towards probably enough for a bachelor's degree and then some. Who knows? But he's getting credits while he's serving.
Right.
And making nice pension and
Yeah. As he should.
I think if I was to touch on, I'm glad you guys went first because one, I mean, I'm not quote unquote qualified to speak on this because one, I was very fortunate to not have any student debt because of just the way that money was set aside for me to go to school. And I had so I'm under that $10,000 mark is when I took off a semester. That semester I had to tack on to the end was on me because it was my choice to leave for a semester. But that's long in the rear view at this point. What I will say is I'm going to touch on a couple things. I'll try to go around the horn the way you guys did it. There is I'm going to combine Steve's and Ben's. The stigma between one, the reason why I wasn't over $10,000 for one semester was because I went to a state school in the state in which I lived at that point. And there is a stigma, especially when you guys live in Philly. I live up here by New York. It's interesting to see how people, there's a drastic decline in the appreciation of a college degree. And at the same time, those that went to college only appreciate those that went to the best. So there's a huge rift occurring there. And to touch on the next point would be, I don't know how to fix it. I don't think the government knows how to fix it, but the fact is we're talking about huge infrastructure and ideological changes and how that would work. And those in power would never give up the grip on the rope and let it move to the other way. We're talking about 50 to 100 years of movement for that rope to tip in the other direction.
Oh, absolutely.
But I do come back to that word appreciation because a lot of the thing that bothered me was I was very lucky to I moved from one very dog-eat-dog locale to another, and it took me 2 years plus to kind of get traction again. It was a hard climb to get back. Luckily, I did have a college degree under my belt, and I had things I could fall back on. Not having student loans afforded me the opportunity to go and do things that I did not study. Because, one, I did not have debt, so I could find new debt. But what I will say is when the stimulus checks started going out, there was two camps of people. One camp was, I don't really need this, but it's nice. People that really needed it and appreciated it. And then the other camp was people that really needed it and still stuck up the middle finger. And I'm self-proclaimed moderate, so I don't really toe the line in any direction because I think the system itself is flawed.
It is.
But what I will say is that when the ideological roots of a system need to be changed, part of the thing that fell down was people's understanding and therefore education and understanding the fact that this is the country and it's going to take time to change. And if you're getting a little bit, I mean, it was a historical moment for any president to be signing checks and sending it direct to your bank account if you had filed your taxes properly or in the mailbox. And I really like Zach's idea, almost like a subscription plan for your college career. I mean, everything else is going to that at this point.
Yeah.
So
Are
Why
all
not college?
Their coffers are full. They have endowments out the wazoo. They can afford it right now.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's the American way, and I love my country. Don't get me wrong, but the American way is greed. So
capitalism, baby.
Gordon Gecko, greed is good.
That whole endowment thing pisses me off so much. We basically have like 80 universities with hedge funds.
It's fuck you money. It's a hedge fund basically underneath their entity's umbrella. It's ridiculous.
I actually almost forgot this, but the biggest thing just from listening to you guys that like worries me, and this is almost completely, I think to the average person they would think it's completely unrelated, but as somebody that like, I do worry about where creativity and the human mind is headed. That's like a big worry in my life, where I worry like when things become so devolved, because you're the average idea, like if you walked into it, I mean, Ben, you teach people like this. Granted, probably not in your school because of how the school's set up. I think that's a very unique sect of children of that age, which I've seen them perform, and it's obvious that they're unique. But I can't help but like be a consumer of social media and go, where is this headed? And where do the lines of comedy and tragedy intersect? And the fact is, like, if you're looking at a $450,000 bill to go to school, what 14-year-old isn't getting ready to have her OnlyFans account?
Exactly.
Just call it a day.
Have a TikTok account and become an internet star.
Yeah, and then they claim that skinny jeans and side parts are no longer cool. Did you see this? Like, the world's ending.
You okay, Mike? I love it.
I don't know. Some of you presented a solution. I did not, but I just like to say that for the betterment of the group, and you know this, like, I graduated with a pile of debt, a big one. Went into a job that I went to school for, and still am in. Is it my dream job? I have no idea. It pays really well. I had a great year one year and was able to pay off all my student loans in one fell swoop. I work in the world of debt. I sell money basically for a living. But I could have, to Josh's point, done something I didn't go to school for. Maybe I could have gone to school for something totally different because I didn't have to go to school to get a job to pay my loans back, which was my whole mentality from freshman year of college. You got to get a good job, pay this loan off. Well, that's a cycle that sucks.
That's kind of my point, though, is that it is the way it is, to the point that I did my own thing. I still do my own thing. But in order to make sure a level of comfort and where I want to be in life, I'm back working for a finance company. Like that's kind of where I'm flying back around the bend with it, because it's you're not going to avoid the situation right now. So there is a solution. I'm just saying that the solution needs to evolve on its own. I'm hoping this base thing like can push through. To your point that they have 2 years to like push it all in, that's like probably the best bet.
Yeah. Well, it's a political thing where you have the leverage right now on all modes of Congress and the executive branch. You just pile it in, and people are basically saying to Joe, like, why aren't you shoving everything you possibly can in right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He's trying to finesse it a little bit. I have real quick.
I agree.
Three little things I thought, just as an educator, someone who works in a high school. I've always thought that the system, one of my biggest problems with the system and why it's so broken is the premise that you're an 18-year-old child with little to no education, and you're immediately expected to take on debt. I think that's insane, and I think we don't do a good enough job of educating people on how to deal with debt, what debt is, whether there is a good debt versus a bad debt.
There is
world that would look like, right? And as semi-successful adults, we know what those things are, but we had to learn, sometimes through trial and error, what that's meant. And I don't think that stuff is taught, which is part of the problem. And I think there is still this weird. At some point, a switch was flipped, with this expectation of college, as opposed to this could be a next step if you really want to get, fancy and fun. And there's all these other roads you could take. We've really limited people down to, listen, here's the one big, huge highway road that everyone wants to go on. You should go on it too. Oh, you want to do something else? A novel idea, but just know that's really going to hurt your earning potential later on. And that's basically what is being taught to children daily across the United States, and really, I think probably across the world, but definitely in the United States. And it's all broken, and it starts in our education system. It starts before people ever get to college, and it starts with the parents who are thinking about sending their kids to college. So,
I think it's safe to say that we did not solve the student loan crisis.
I didn't think we would.
We tried, dude. We tried.
Maybe if you let me take a potty break, I'll come up with an idea.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mike is sending $50,000 checks to everybody in the U.S. tomorrow morning.
Woo!
I'll just say this.
Put that as the title of this podcast, and we are getting viewers.
Yeah.
I think it's $50,000 checks, and if you don't need the $50,000, you take that money and you put it in Social Security, so we have Social Security when we die or get close to dying.
The first person to put a song a day in the next 50,000 days on the Spotify list gets $50,000.
I wanted to make one last point before we move on to our game, and that was from a story that I read on NPR about the $50,000 number, which is why I would rather see that, even though it benefits me way more. And that's because the Roosevelt Institute put out a study of like 40 years of student loan data, and the 50,000 would close the racial wealth gap a lot better than 10,000.
Okay.
And that's because Black families are more likely to have less wealth and higher student debt than white families. And they're more likely to default on their loans, even if they have a bachelor's degree. And all that's just because of the systemic discrimination in the labor market. So.
Yep.
Then I am all for that.
You won me over.
What?
Yep.
Well, you won me over.
Yep.
So on that note, I think student loan crisis is over. We're going to write up a proposal and mail it to Joey Biden, right?
Yeah.
Joseph Robinette.
I'll drive it down to Delaware. I think he's there on the weekends or something.
You ready for your game?
You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the opening. Ready?
Oh yeah.
Man, I hope this game works out well. So we
God,
can
I'm
use that all
so wet right now.
All right, so for this game today, we're going to be playing Pitch Me Daddy. And I want each of you to take turns giving me a 1 to 2 minute elevator pitch for literally anything in the entire world. It could be a book, a video game, some new business you want to start, and just make it as ridiculous as possible.
Okay.
Deal.
I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm ready to sell you some stuff.
Entrepreneur.
Oh,
Who goes first?
How it's going to work is I'm going to pick the idea I think is either the funniest or the absolute worst.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
I don't want to go first. That's why I'm not talking.
Steve, you have a prop, so I'm voting you first.
Yeah, Steve first because of his
Nice.
prop.
Okay. All
You
right.
have to do it with an accent.
I think we need a timer.
I'll go quick. All right. So many of you may not know, but 65% of the human population is actually lactose intolerant. And that means there's around 45 to 50 million adults in the United States right now suffering from this condition. That's 95% of Asians, roughly 75% of African Americans and Ashkenazi Jews. 90% of American Indians are also lactose intolerant. And somewhere around the range of 70 to 80% of Hispanics are actually lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
In addition, Mexican restaurants are one of the fastest growing sectors in the U.S. restaurant marketplace, with over $66.9 billion in revenue slated for 2021.
I hate this so
What do
much.
these two things have in common? They make you gassy.
Much cheese.
There's a lot of cheese. There's a lot of beans. And for those of us that are lactose intolerant and really like Mexican food, you don't want to have to take a Lactaid and then 2-Bino. You want to take just something one time. So I'm introducing to you
The butt dildo.
Beantaid. Hold on. Beantaid.
Oh shit!
Oh yes, props.
Did you make that?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Oh my
Get
god!
really close. I hope I can get this to work.
I think it's copyright infringement.
What's in it?
Like, enjoy text
text
messaging.
again.
It's a lactose enzyme and degasser.
Hell yeah!
Wow.
I thought you were gonna go with a lactose-free Mexican restaurant.
No, I went with
This is really utilitarian.
An average
Sucks.
bottle of Beano is around $13, and Lactaid's anywhere between the $9 to $22 range. Beantaid, on the other hand, is just one bottle that you need one pill from, and it's simply $12. So I say reduce the cost of your Mexican food and not just on your relationship.
Oh,
You like that? How good was that?
good job.
Very good.
Thank you.
Wait, do we all question or?
No,
I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate everything about that.
All right, because
So is
you hate
that?
it so much,
I
you
have
get
to
go
ask:
next.
is that a real product already, or did you make that label?
Oh, no, I made this label in Photoshop.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's illegal.
Really well done.
Thank you. It took me like 20 minutes to figure
Really
it
well done.
That's
You
a
really
really
did.
fair point. You missed a golden opportunity to say nacho relationship.
out. That's true.
Ooh.
Oh, Zach's gonna
Some shooters
deduct
shoot.
points for that.
Shooters miss.
I was searching for a long period of time to see how many relationships per year are ended by excessive flatulence, and I could not find a figure.
Oh man.
Mine's on the
Where are those
brink.
figures from, by the way?
Go with your other
That's-
statistics.
Yeah, that
What?
study is as important as the student loan crisis.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Ben, let's hear it.
You want me to go? All right, I got to share my screen because I put some slides together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
I went for simplicity.
Let me share. I think I can figure this out.
These guys are just setting the bar for what it's going to take to win. Whenever we play Pitch Me Daddy.
Chrome tab.
By the way, can I vote that this game comes back often? Because
Yeah, it should.
it was so much fun putting something together for this.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Ben, I'm adding you to the stream. You ready, buddy?
I'm ready. Can you see it?
I love the question.
All right. As long as everyone can see it, I'll get started.
Yo, I feel like I'm at Y Combinator right now.
Oh man, this was right up my alley because I love putting slides together for school. You know, as an educator. So, here we go.
What if I don't know the answer to this question?
Are you an educator?
So, Mike, here's the thing. Everything's rhetorical. So
Okay.
shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Oh,
All right.
shit.
Do you have a baby or small child? Yep, Biznatch.
Yay! It's Miles.
That's my son. Are you always wondering how your little one can get around more easily?
I love how he didn't say the word as he wrote it either.
I don't know how to say that word as I wrote it. Are you always looking for a safe alternative to some of these common baby movers?
You definitely have been watching Always Sunny.
Like fucking Broncos? Or space travelers? Or maybe a train go boom?
What the
When the hype train isn't enough, get on the hype train plane. So guess what, guys? I have a solution for you. And it's obviously dogs with saddles, you dumb idiot. I inserted this video for you to give you a good idea of why we need this.
Yes.
Holy shit, embedded video?
Yeah.
Now, this kid would feel more comfortable in a saddle.
Oh, that's
I'm
so
calling,
right.
I'm calling PETA right now.
And Child Protective Services.
That's a big old pup.
How much are you selling the saddles for, Ben?
Whoa. Let me get done my presentation, sir.
Oh, sorry.
That's a rough set. Any questions? Probably not.
It's so good.
Saddles on a cat.
All right, I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Oh my
Jesus.
God, that's so good.
Can you put it on a cat?
Great question. Depends on the size of your child and the size of your cat. But we make size saddles for dogs ranging from 10 pounds to 150 pounds.
That's a good range.
So you're going to put a 10-pound baby on a 10-pound chihuahua?
Whoa. Your baby would have to be approximately 1.5 pounds.
Yeah, there's a baby to dog ratio.
Yeah.
There's a ratio you have to hit. It's just like putting on diapers. Those of you that are parents, I know all of you, will understand this. There's different levels, right? You can get the saddle level 1. You can get the saddle newborn, right? So
Excellent work, John.
Very
all,
good.
by the way, it's all Horween leather. It's baby soft to the touch. Your babies won't get chapped asses.
No.
We promise that.
You're overselling it. Please stop.
Sorry.
All right, Mike, since you chimed in, it's your turn.
Well, yeah, I want to relate to you person to person, human to human, not this stupid Photoshop or this presentation. I just want to present you a situation like the one we just had where I had to stop for a potty break. Okay, so I'm sitting here at my desk. I work at my desk. I play games at my desk. Some of you might play at your desk when you do PC. Some of you may sit on your couch, but this idea is best set for a desk. You're playing, you had a couple IPAs, you got to pee really bad, but you don't want to get up in the middle of a comp match. You don't want to get kicked out. So my idea is it's not a catheter. It's a urinal for under your desk. Okay, so it's a round circle, and you kind of sit there, and you just play, and you pee right into it, and it takes the liquid out to a chamber behind you. You clean it out once per day. Once you're done peeing, a little hand comes and kind of shakes you off. There's no dribble. And you're good. You put your pants back in, sit down, and you keep playing.
Is the hand like a water wheel? Like you just like crank it and then it slaps your tip?
No, it's like a little lever. It just kind of comes and goes like this, and you're good. But it's like a big circle. I don't have any prototypes yet. It's in early preliminary stages, but I think it's pretty practical.
The masks from like a fighter jet.
That's exactly the shape. I said circle, but it's kind of like. But you don't want it to put it on there because it sucks your skin away. Just kind of.
I think it's something better with pictures.
Yeah, you should have 3D printed a prototype, Mike.
I wanted to see pictures of Mike using it.
Wait, Mike, what do you call it?
That is far and away the most useful suggestion so far.
Yo, what?
For me personally.
I find myself sitting here late at night drinking beers,
bro.
playing Overwatch with you guys.
30% of people that is not lactose intolerant.
I am always sitting here with my bladder full, playing Overwatch, ready to load into a comp match, and I got to run upstairs and piss. Sitting here with the fighter jet ball sucker, which is what it's called, I can go to the bathroom.
Mike, can I go in on you? Can I go in with your deal, but can I also add a poop option?
So that was the secondary option for a later talk.
Okay, all right. Just making sure. So next, pitch me, Daddy. Mike and I will come up with a group.
Well, I don't know how to deal with poop smudge, but if you pee into this device, it has such a suction. Like after you pee, it sucks all the moisture in. I don't know how to deal with like sticky.
Right, or the teenagers that are going to want to your device.
A bottle cleaner will just come in.
It would have to go into your sphincter and kind of suck it out cleanly, which is not good.
By the way, I think you should take my idea for the water wheel apparatus. Like where you just crank it like a old school window on the side of a car.
Nothing is supposed to go in your pee hole. Nothing is supposed to go in your pee hole, Mike.
So I was criticized earlier from another person in my home about this idea. It's basically just a urinal for under your car.
Yeah, a portable urinal. I like it.
You know what's really funny, Mike, is one of my ideas was I was going to shoot a video where I attached the vacuum cleaner hose and had it running to the toilet and Chandler was like, "Don't you f***ing dare! If you literally sit half naked on the couch and put your tape your penis in that hose, I will leave you." So I'm glad I had to change my idea.
I'm no longer your friend because you didn't do that.
Yeah. I think you'll appreciate mine. Can I do mine?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna do a little prefacing on. I'm presenting a product to the 4 friends here. Basically, I've seen a lot of things. Barstool Sports is always reposting, Drunk Betch, all these really high tier intellectual Instagram accounts, and it's mostly about young men like ourselves, millennials, are just always getting raked over the coals by their significant others and maybe people older than them on how they treat their bodies or what they do in their free time, and basically just tell us that we're really heading for the wrong thing. So I wanted to create a product that got rid of all the vices in a millennial's life. So I prepped something for you guys. This is my product.
I am the only one to prepare.
Were you a guy born in the 90s? Do you feel misunderstood? Do you find yourself constantly walking towards that cliff? Where others show restraint, you remember those 2 perfect words. Full send, baby. Well, the truth is, you're a shithead. Smoking, drinking, embarrassing yourself with some random guy at the bar you don't even know? Diving so deep into a video game that Call of Duty has become a way of life? Well, guess what? We have something for you. Introducing the Habit Rabbit. 1,200 watts of pure vice-chewing power, baby. A machine built to make sure your girl doesn't leave you. Simply throw in all those things that make you such a piece of f***ing shit. Pop on the lid, and boom. Mission accomplished. Habit Rabbit. Because you're a shithead.
All I know is that I f***ed up tonight.
Wow. Don't worry about it, Mike, because I don't have the skills for that. Holy shit, man. That was cool.
That was so good.
I love the Zen pack going in.
I'm kind of speechless here. There was a lot of effort put in today. But I still think shit, it's Josh.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have to redo my episode anyway, so it works out.
Well, you had the video production is not fair.
Well, I actually, in my head, I was like, Steve's going to bring a video to this f***ing party, so I need to. And basically Ben did too.
I was very close.
I literally did that after work today. And Chandler's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to tape the hose of the vacuum to my penis.
If we do this again, then I know I have another idea. It's amazing, and I will do video quality on my own without any help.
Also, I might just produce a video of saddles for dogs, just to put on the Instagram because I think that'd be hilarious.
Please do, but be prepared. You will get pushback. While I was doing my research for my product, I found that there was a famous Doritos commercial in which a child was riding a dog, and apparently PETA had a lot of problems with that, John.
Gotcha.
PETA.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, the video you used was not a video you created, right? It was just a video you took from another person's experience.
Correct. That was not my own. I can't take credit for that. YouTube, thank you for whatever random video of that child on that dog.
That's like, I like creating my own comments so I don't have to worry about copyright infringement or breaking the law.
I also didn't create that meme about that hype train plane, so, you know.
Low effort, man.
Well, you guys, that was good.
That's pretty much what I do every day for work, so that just felt like a normal day for me.
Yeah, you make a lot of stuff on PowerPoint slides spin.
I just pitch stuff to my kids, really. That's what I do.
Okay, Gen Z, what about this?
Well, before we close it out, let's see what PETA had an issue with.
Can I get some help?
Jeez.
You found it!
No, can you? Guess you don't want Doritos.
Oh, what was the issue with this?
The dog loves it.
And the kid's obviously not on there.
Come on.
The kid's clearly not on the dog.
Loved it.
Is that
That's
public domain?
That's a great ad.
See how easy you found that ad? That tells you how pissed off Beetle was.
All right, well, let's close this thing out. Congratulations, Josh, on winning Pitch Me Daddy, our first ever champion of Pitch Me Daddy.
I don't know what that was.
So thanks, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Phriendly. If you want to follow along our musical journey, on Spotify, there's going to be 2 playlists. Either Phriendly Phinds is going to be our weekly one, or Phriendly Phinds Forever if you want to follow along for the long term.
With a PH.
With a PH. And we'll place links for those playlists in the show notes. If you have anything you want to chime in on the student loan crisis, even though we fixed it already, you can email us at friendlypod@gmail.com. And as always, if you have any musical suggestions, send them. You can email us. Send it to any of us on social media.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Put it right in the trash.
Right in the chat. Well done, Zach. Great host.
Thank you.